Hello everyone and welcome to 21st episode of Personal Development Training Series. My name is Mohammad Reza Fathi and I'm a life coach. What we do in life echoes in eternity. I guarantee you that your life is going to be divided to two parts, before and after personal development training. This episode is called Stepping Out of Procrastination Cycle, Moving Within Real Limits. Up to this point, we have established something important. Procrastination is not simply laziness. Behind it, there is fear, there's financial pressure, there are family expectations and social judgment. There is mental exhaustion, and there is memory of past failures. So the question is no longer, why do I procrastinate? The more relevant question is this: with all these real pressures in place, how can someone still move forward? Not in a dramatic, impulsive way and not recklessly, but in a realistic and practical way. In the beginning, we are going to redefine courage. The first step is to know what courage means. Many of us grew up with a distorted image of what courage looks like. We associate it with sudden resignation letters, bold announcements, drastic life changes that shock everyone around us. We imagine courage as a sweeping gesture that disrupts everything at once. In economically uncertain times, that definition can be dangerous. When you have rent for a mortgage to pay, when healthcare depends on employment, when children rely on your stability, dramatic decisions are not always wise. In real life, courage looks different. Courage can be small, conscious move made while fully accepting that there will be a cost. It can be slow progress made within real constraints. It may not look impressive from the outside, but it quietly builds a different future. Part 2: from real decisions to experiments. Instead of thinking in terms of final decisions, think in terms of limited experiments. Many people feel paralyzed because they assume every decision is permanent. Stay or leave. Commit or walk away. Start over or give up completely. But in reality, many choices can be structured as trials rather than irreversible commitments. If you are unhappy in your job, you do not necessarily need to resign tomorrow. You could dedicate one focused hour each day for 3 months to developing a secondary skill in a real way. I'm not talking about buying the course and not attending. In a real way. At the end of that period, you evaluate, you gather data, then you decide. When a decision becomes an experiment, fear becomes more manageable. Next, moving under financial pressure. Financial pressure requires practical thinking rather than heroic gestures. That does not mean you must remain stuck. It means movement must be intelligent. There are 3 practical principles. First of all, build at least a minimal buffer, some sort of saving. Even a small emergency fund creates psychological stability. Second, favor parallel movement instead of abrupt replacement. Do not immediately destroy the bridge you are standing on. Third, define a timeline. That's why I insist on journaling. Instead of saying, someday I will reconsider this, say, I'm giving this path 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, I will review and decide. A defined review point prevents endless postponement. Next, conversations instead of silence. In relationships, many prolonged suspensions exist because conversations never happen. Sometimes the most powerful step is a simple admission. I feel confused. I'm afraid. I'm not sure what I want. I'm not sure how I feel. Saying these words require vulnerability, and vulnerability feels risky. Yet extended silence creates chronic uncertainty. When clarity emerges, even if the outcome is not ideal, the mind experiences relief. Next, action creates motivation. Another important truth. Action often creates motivation rather than the other way around. Many people say, I will start when I feel ready. In practice, readiness often appears after the first or two small steps. When you complete a modest action, your mind registers evidence, generates motivation. I'm capable of movement. But long periods of delay erodes self-trust. Small actions rebuilds it gradually. Next thing you need to do, accepting the cost of your choices. No choice is without cost. Staying has a cost, living has a cost. Speaking honestly has a cost, remaining silent and lying also has a cost. As long as we search for completely cost-free option, paralysis continues. Maturity begins when we say, I understand the cost and I am willing to carry it. When you consciously accept the cost, personal power returns. Next step, designing reversible decisions. Many fears intensify because we assume decisions are irreversible. In reality, many choices can be designed with reversibility in mind. Trial periods, temporary contracts, scheduled review points, and clear exit options. When the mind understands that a door is not permanently sealed, it relaxes enough to move. Often, the paralysis that we experience is fueled more by exaggerated mental images than by objective reality. Next thing you need to know and you need to act on is environment. Environment matters. Environment plays a significant role. Willpower alone is rarely sufficient. If you are surrounded by constant messages that emphasize danger, scarcity, and risk avoidance, your mind becomes increasingly defensive. You do not need to eliminate people, but you can adjust your informational environment. You can also seek thoughtful examples of change. Expose yourself to realistic successes. Your environment directly shapes your tolerance for uncertainty. And the last thing you could try and do is external commitment, like a success partner. You should create a simple external commitment. When a decision remains only inside your head, it is easy to postpone indefinitely. When you tell one trusted person, a coach, or a success partner, for the next 3 months, I'm seriously exploring this path. I'm going to learn an instrument, I'm going to learn a new language, I'm going to learn some financial skill, for example. Please ask me and look for me for the next 3 months. This will increase accountability naturally. And closing thoughts. Looking at the full journey of this series clarifies the patterns. Episode 1 explored distance from ourselves. Episode 2 examined distance in relationships. Episode 3 uncovered hidden fears beneath procrastination. This episode brings those insights into action. Living the cycle of delay does not require grand heroism. It requires thoughtful design, a small, conscious action, a limited experience, a clear conversation, a defined timeline, a willingness to accept the costs. Perhaps the central question is not, am I ready to change my entire life? Perhaps the better question is this: what is the smallest, honest, yet transformative action I can take today within my real constraints? That question, answered sincerely and acted upon consistently, marks the true beginning of stepping out of procrastination and actually, truly changing you and your life. What we do in life echoes in eternity.